Welcome to Menopause Madness. So, in today's video, I will share a bit about my hellacious week. And before you panic and hit the stop button, it has a benefit to it as it relates to menopause and also understanding more about the mind body connection. And as I have managed to grow from this experience, like others in the past, I will share those insights as well. So, this will focus a great deal on emotional wellness and how much that actually ties in with the body. And spoiler alert, this lovely little cold sore thing that I have happening will get explained in a way that will blow your mind. So, let's jump in. On Monday, which would be approximately a week ago at the recording of this, um, I was called by my mother at the wee hours of the morning to come immediately to the house, and because my sister had passed. And this was somewhat unexpected, but not entirely because she had been very sick. We thought she had more time. But this video is not going to be about all that. Obviously, that was more than a little bit of a shock to my system. Then what took place after that, obviously, emotional things happening, my mom dealing with a lot, and me reverting back into some old patterns with being responsible for other people's feelings. So that kind of elevated as the week went by. I took on more and more responsibility for the care of my mom, and not that I regret that in the least. Um, I'm glad to help serve her, and I very much can relate to what she's going through. However, I made it my mission to put her feelings before my own, and that is not beneficial. Um, so by the time Thursday rolled around, so 3 days later, I was really struggling, physically speaking. And I then received a text message from my credit card company saying that a charge had been declined, which I created a whole dramatic story around in my head, which I won't share. But suffice it to say, like, the sky is falling was the vibe there. And as a result of that monumental craziness in my head that I chose to listen to, um, my cortisol levels bottomed out, and I sat in my client's bathroom. I am a home care aide as well. I sat in my client's bathroom and just wept and picked myself up and walked out, grabbed my phone, clocked out, told her I'm leaving. Went home and got myself in some comfortable clothes and laid down on my grounding sheet on my bed and just had a pity party for a little while. Um, Actually, that took place more on Friday, the following day. That day, I did find out that the credit card company had done me a favor by declining that charge, and it led me to discover that I had been receiving charges incorrectly for something that I had returned many months before. And so it actually was to my benefit for that to take place, to discover that mistake and get quite a bit of money back. But all of that drama for the several days leading up led me to be at a point of just sheer exhaustion. And I woke up Friday morning with this lovely little cold sore. And what occurred to me was I recalled a video I had watched earlier in the week, a podcast video between a woman whose name escapes me right now, but I'll put the link for the video in the details for this video. Interviewed by Scott Britton. He's actually a Substack publisher as well, creator. And she was talking about something called German New Medicine, and it has a German name that I can't pronounce. But what she was explaining is how there is a doctor whose name is escaping right now that figured out by doing CT scans of the brain without contrast that you could pinpoint areas of the brain that were, had anomalies, and then recognize where in the body a person was going to be struggling and why. Like, not necessarily the whole story behind it, but enough of the story to start probing with questions for the person at hand. And he proved this over and over through different case studies. However, because of the powers that be, the university he submitted his work to refused to acknowledge his science. And I could get on to a tangent about that, but I won't. So, you can watch the video and get a better understanding of how this functions. But what they're showing with these CT scans is the mind-body connection, and how when something traumatic happens to us, and it can be a lot lesser of a trauma than you think, because obviously things happen to us sometimes when we're very young that feel a lot more traumatic to us as a kid than they would potentially as an adult, that those things get captured in our system and create havoc. And it can go back even as far as when you were in the womb, and things that were going on for your mother. And if this sounds a little far out woo-woo, I understand it's a new kind of science to wrap your head around, no pun intended. But there is science to back it up. What does any of this have to do with menopause and my cold sore? Well, let's start with the cold sore first, and it'll tie in. So she said, as she's explaining these different case studies, that say, for example, you're feeling very unsafe, your body, and she gave more details, your body might respond by erupting in some type of skin blemish, like acne or something, when you are feeling threatened. Like it's a protective mechanism. Your body is trying to create balance, and that's what your body is always trying to do. And this is where it ties in. I had noticed a couple of years ago, I guess it was, when I had a car accident. I totaled my car, and it was definitely a physically stressful event. The next day, I had a cold sore, and I was like, "What's going on?" And I started doing research, and I found out that in some cases, what can cause those cold sores to crop up is your cortisol levels get very elevated. So again, your body's trying to create balance. Like there's this thing happening that you feel unsafe about, and then your body's like, "Oh, well, let's bring balance to the situation." Well, your cortisol is the body's hormone balancer, so it comes in to save the day when things are out of sorts. And that can mean either with physically stressful or emotionally stressful events, or it can mean your hormones are out of balance, and so cortisol comes in to square that up to the best of its ability. And I've shared in other videos that, while that's useful in the moment, long term, it's creates downstream problems, hormonal imbalances, which then can lead to gut imbalances, and the circle goes on and on. It creates a vicious cycle. So by end of Friday, so Friday I took the day off. I was just exhausted, and I decided, you know what? as I was pondering, despite the fact that my main employer was not interested in giving me bereavement time, um, what would I want in a boss? And I pondered that as I was meditating in the shower on Friday, trying to psych myself up to go to my first job of the day, which would have been a job for myself. How can I, what kind of boss would I want in this moment? Oh, hey, I am the boss. This particular job is totally up to me whether I go or don't go because I privately signed this person. What kind of boss do I want to be for myself? Like, what's the point in being self employed if you're not a good boss for yourself, right? And I thought, well, I would want the kind of boss that says, hey, I see you're having a hard time, take the day off. So I did. So this is leading into the self-care aspect of menopause. When things are out of balance, take whatever measures are necessary to create that balance as quickly as you possibly can, to the best of your ability. You know, does that mean run off and go to Hawaii on vacation? Well, no, not if that's outside of the realm of doable for you. But there are plenty of things you can do besides long Hawaiian vacations, in the moment, right? And although I didn't catch myself quickly enough throughout the week to prevent some of the things that took place, once they took place, it was, well, okay, here's what I'm dealing with. What am I going to do about it? And Friday, I spent a great deal of time feeling exhausted and decided I'm just going to take it super easy. Like, I put my laptop in my bed. I put on some sweatpants and a comfy shirt and fuzzy socks, laid on my grounding sheet a whole long time that day, took a really long shower, called my mom to check in on her, and didn't do a whole lot, honestly. But by the end of the day, I was still extremely tired, and I knew that there was, something off balance. It felt like my blood sugar just couldn't keep up. And recognizing who I am as a co-creator with God, I declared to the universe, I didn't ask, I declared to the universe, I'm done with this shit. I'm not putting up with this anymore. I choose to feel better. And within moments of this prayer, if you will, the thought came to me, go take your stress response. It's an adaptogen blend that I've used in the past. And I keep some on hand for special events like this one. Special, probably not the best word. And okay, yeah. And so I went and grabbed 2 of those and went to bed. And I woke up the next morning and I was like, oh, I feel a ton better. I'm like a whole different person. Because my cortisol levels had gotten so far out of whack that everything was struggling. The insulin levels, all of it, the motivation, which is affected by the testosterone and the progesterone and just all of it. Like, my body was like screaming for help. So recognizing that, yes, a piece of the puzzle is making sure that your body is being nourished, and knowing that those adaptogens would do that for me is a necessary component. But the bigger part that I am trying to drive home a point here is how the mind-body connection really plays the bigger part. You've got some story that you're caught up in that's replaying itself and coming out in the form of your health problems. And my cold sore is a simpler example, but that plays out in bigger ways. Your hormones being imbalanced, your any number of things that can be influenced by this story that's been captured in your head, in your nervous system, rather. I'll share one little last bit here. Some things that you can do to help calm your nervous system. I mentioned the grounding sheet. I mentioned the adaptogens, breath work, and being in the moment. Some deeper work that you can do that I chose to get help with this week. A friend of mine who does integration sessions offered to help do a free session for me. I was very appreciative. And in these sessions, they take you into the whatever it is that you're struggling with the most. So we have this voice in our head, right? Like the one that created the story of doom that caused me to panic in somebody's bathroom. That we choose to listen to. And it can wreak all kinds of havoc. The levels of awareness related to this voice in your head is how much, whether you're aware that you're not the voice. Once you reach past that point, then are you fighting the voice? Once you reach past that point, are you talking lovingly to the voice? And then the last step being, not only have you shown compassion to the voice, which is just some inner story that you've got going, but how are you now also telling that voice, I understand what you're facing, and we're going to do it anyway. So empowering the voice, like, it's okay. We're okay. And depending on the what the voice is saying, there's different approaches, different levels of awareness that I find myself in. Knowing that you're not the voice is enough to get you started on moving in the direction of creating a better physical and emotional experience for yourself, so that you can let go of those stories that are creating physical dis-ease, and applying that to menopause. As you let go of those thoughts that are creating you stress, you're going to regain a whole lot of energy back and mental bandwidth by choosing to reclaim that energy through letting go of belief in what that voice has to say. We'll wrap it up there. Make it a great day. I will tag the video in the description. Please comment or ask questions if you have any. I am preparing to do a menopause summit on the 25th. I'll be speaking live. Free tickets are available. I'll put that in the description as well. And there is the option for VIP purchase if you prefer to watch the recordings at your leisure instead of attending the event live. And it covers the VIP ticket covers all of the speakers, and I believe there's 17 of us. So if you would like to gain a wealth of knowledge, potentially for free or for the low price of $97, unlimited access, find those links in the comment, or rather the description, and I look forward to seeing you there.